if I'm in the middle of trying to make a decision or understand something complicated, I don't say, what would Mom do? I say, what would Dad do? And he's able to speak to me. We spent so much time together. He's able to speak to me out of the past and gives me good wisdom. And I always know what to do because I know what Robert Cotton would do. But as I live my life over and over again, I feel the presence of my mother. Not in a spooky way, though sometimes I find myself looking over my head, looking over my shoulder, wondering if my mom was standing right behind me. See, I feel her presence with things like this when I'm sitting in a room and I'm buried down in some couch, or you know what that's like. You sit down on some couches and you're buried so far down that to get out, you feel like you're climbing a mountain. You have to climb a mountain. And at 74, it takes some work to get out of a couch like that. But when a woman walks in the room, I'm buried down there and my rear end is almost on the floor, and some woman walks in the room and I'm thinking, I don't want to get up, but I feel my mother behind me saying, stand up when a woman walks in the room. And I got to climb out of the couch. I know it's ungainly and it looks pretty stupid, but I'm going to do it anyway because my mama taught me. And I know that for the wisdom of my father, what my mother had was a vision for me, a standard. There was a plumb line in her for me. And I feel like the older I get, the more I measure up to that plumb line because it's now also my plumb line. She had a high vision for us, and it's affected us, that is my brother and I, and it's affected the way we live. All right, so I wanted to talk about motherhood, and Mother's Day. I appreciate the frilly ribbons and flowers and the sweet music and everything, but honestly, I don't think of my mother that way. My mother was an example of that thing that you're taught. If you go in the woods, don't get between a mama bear and her baby and the baby bears. Don't do it. She was a fierce advocate for her children. She believed in us. She had a vision for us, and she was a fierce advocate. And I want to talk to you for a minute. This is out of when Jesus had just been born, and there was this tradition you had to take the child in on about the 8th day, and they're taking him. So Mary and Joseph are taking him to the temple, and there was a guy there, a prophet named Simeon. He was an old guy, and God told Simeon that he would not die until he had seen the Messiah come, the hope of Israel. And on a certain day, Simeon was moved by the Spirit and went to the temple as Joseph and Mary were bringing Jesus in. And he begins to prophesy over Jesus. So here's Mary and Joseph and Jesus, and Simeon prophesies over Jesus. And then he doesn't turn to Joseph, he turns to Mary. And he says to her, behold, this child, so there, just get the scene. He prophesies over Jesus, and then he turns not to Joseph, to Mary. Behold, this child is appointed for the fall and rising of many in Israel, and for a sign that is opposed. And a sword will pierce through your own soul also, so that thoughts from many hearts may be revealed. So from the early days of Jesus' life, God speaks to Mary and puts a vision, a word, a plumb line in her heart for Jesus. And it's true that a sword did pierce her soul also. She was there at the crucifixion and had to witness what happened to her loved son. Second, I was remembering a an encounter that Jesus had, I'll get over here, with the Canaanite woman. Let me just read this to you. Jesus went away from there and withdrew to the district of Tyre and Sidon. And behold, a Canaanite woman, so she wasn't Jewish, from that region came out and was crying, "Have mercy on me, O Lord, Son of David. My daughter is severely oppressed by a demon." Jesus did not answer her a word. And his disciples came and begged him, saying, "Send her away, for she's crying out after us." I'm sure it was an embarrassing scene. An embarrassing scene. You got that? Your mama will make an embarrassing scene for you. I've seen it happen to a lot of school boards and teachers. Embarrassing. My mama's here. Oh no! She's going to talk to the teacher. And so Jesus answered, "I was sent only to the lost sheep of the house of Israel." But she came and knelt before him, saying, "Lord, help me." And he answered, "It is not right to take the children's bread," that is, he was sent to minister to Israel, "and throw it to the dogs." Insult. She said, "Yes, Lord, yet even the dogs eat the crumbs that fall from their master's table." Then Jesus answered her, "O woman, great is your faith. Be it done for you as you desire." And her daughter was healed instantly. It's in Matthew 15. That's a mother. A mother is an advocate, a warrior for her children. And God puts this in her. He set the pattern with Mary. He put this in her. It's something she carries in her. We understood this. And so when our sons got married, one of the things we did was we had Gloria come up and lay hands on the bride and impart to her this flame, this fire that she had carried in her heart for each one of her sons. So she laid hands on the prospective daughter-in-law and imparted to her this vision and this fire. And the wife becomes the flame keeper. But it starts out with your mother. For you mothers, you're the flame keeper for your children. You know when they are meeting this plumb line of the vision and the call on their life. And I want to encourage you, in the middle of all Mother's Day and all the sweet stuff, listen, you're warriors and flame keepers. And I honor you. I love my mama. She was crazy at times in a nice way, but I always knew that she was a fierce protector and advocate for me. And those things at my age of 74 really matter. I love you. Bless you. Have a great Mother's Day.